There's a moment you felt, even if you never admitted it. You're standing still on the outside, composed, polite, controlled. But inside, you're negotiating with a swarm. Their opinions, their approval, their rejection, their silence. Every look becomes a verdict. Every delay becomes an insult. Every joke becomes a blade you pretend didn't cut. And because you care, you become predictable. Caring is not virtue. Caring is a leash. It is how the world steers you without touching you. They don't need to threaten you if they can make you crave their warmth. They don't need to defeat you if they can make you explain yourself. They don't need to control your body if they can control your nervous system. This is the dark method Machiavelli understood before most people even had language for it. Power does not begin with domination. It begins with immunity. The ability to watch provocation arrive and feel nothing rise. The ability to hear disrespect and not rush to correct it. The ability to lose something and not broadcast desperation. Because the person who can be made emotional can be made obedient. So what if not caring isn't laziness or nihilism? What if it's a strategic withdrawal of permission? A refusal to let anyone rent space in your mind? A controlled starvation of the very hooks people use to move you? We're going to dissect the difference between apathy and sovereignty. We're going to expose how attention becomes a currency, how outrage becomes a cage, and how detachment, cold, deliberate detachment, turns you into someone the world cannot easily manipulate. And when you understand it, you won't just feel calmer. You'll feel untouchable. Let's begin. Machiavelli's first lesson is not about cruelty. It's about leverage. And leverage begins wherever your emotions begin to beg. If someone can make you anxious, they can make you rush. If they can make you angry, they can make you sloppy. If they can make you crave reassurance, they can make you negotiate against yourself. The world rarely needs to overpower you. It only needs to discover what you cannot tolerate. Most people live with hidden intolerances. They cannot tolerate being misunderstood. They cannot tolerate being ignored. They cannot tolerate losing status, losing face, losing the illusion that they matter. So they talk too much. They apologize when they shouldn't. They explain themselves to people who are not owed an explanation. They chase closure like it's oxygen. And the moment you do that, you reveal something priceless, a handle. Machiavelli watched courts, alliances, and betrayals move like weather. Not because men were strong, but because men were needy. They wanted recognition. They wanted security. They wanted to be seen as righteous. So their rivals didn't attack their armies first. They attacked their pride, their reputation, their comfort, their sense of control. The dark method is simple. Remove the handle. Not by becoming numb. Numbness is weakness in disguise. Numbness is damage. Sovereignty is different. Sovereignty is choosing, consciously, what deserves entry into your nervous system. You stop reacting on schedule. When someone provokes you, you do not rush to defend your identity. When someone withholds, you do not chase to restore your dignity. When someone doubts you, you do not perform for their belief. You let uncertainty hang in the air like a knife no one wants to grab. Because the person who doesn't care in the right moments becomes unreadable. And the unreadable person cannot be easily manipulated. Your task is not to feel nothing. Your task is to make your emotions private property. To stop granting the public access. To stop giving enemies the privilege of steering you with a glance. When you can be insulted without trembling, praised without inflating, and threatened without hurrying, you create a new reality around yourself. People begin to adjust to you, not because you demanded it, because you stopped needing it. There is a reason Machiavelli preferred fear over love, and it isn't because he worshipped cruelty. It's because love makes you negotiate. Fear makes them calculate. When you care too much about being liked, you start paying hidden taxes. You soften your boundaries to avoid tension. You dilute your words to avoid offense. You trade clarity for comfort, then wonder why people treat you like furniture. Not caring is the refusal to pay those taxes. But here's the darker truth. Most people don't respect kindness. They respect cost. They respect the person whose attention is scarce, whose approval is expensive, whose presence is not guaranteed. This is why indifference is so often mistaken for strength, because it signals that you are not hungry. Hunger is visible. Hunger explains itself. Hunger makes promises. And promises are chains. So Machiavelli's method is to weaponize absence. Not dramatic absence, not tantrums, not punishment theatrics. Quiet absence. You stop volunteering emotional labor. You stop rushing to reply. You stop proving your value to those who haven't earned access. You stop clarifying your intentions to people committed to misunderstanding you. And in that quiet, something happens. Their imagination begins to work for you. They fill the silence with possibilities. They wonder what you know. They wonder what you're planning. They wonder if they misjudged you. Most people cannot tolerate that uncertainty. They will offer concessions just to end it. A softer tone, a better deal, a sudden respect they always had. This is not magic, it's psychology. Attention is a currency, and you've been spending it like you're afraid of going broke. Stop. Reserve your warmth for those who have demonstrated loyalty, competence, and discretion. Give everyone else neutrality, smooth, calm, unbothered. Because neutrality denies them a mirror. They cannot read themselves through your face. They cannot confirm their power through your reaction. And the person who cannot be confirmed becomes dangerous. Not because they are loud, because they are free. The world trains you to care at the wrong moments. It teaches you to flinch at disrespect, to panic at silence, to chase certainty. It convinces you that immediate reaction is strength, that defending yourself is self-respect, that being understood is a human right. Machiavelli would call that training useful. Useful for everyone who wants you governable. Because a reactive person is easy to steer. You don't even need to lie to them. You simply press the right emotional button and watch them move themselves into the position you wanted all along. So the method turns ruthless here. You learn to let people misread you. Most people cannot tolerate being misinterpreted. They correct, clarify, justify. They tell the full story, offer the receipts, plead for context. And in doing so, they reveal priorities, vulnerabilities, dependencies. They give away their map. But power is not built by being perfectly seen. Power is built by being difficult to frame. When you refuse to correct a small accusation, you force the other person to carry the uncertainty. When you don't defend yourself against a cheap insult, you remove the reward. When you don't chase the person who withdraws, you turn their tactic into their burden. This is not passivity, it is selective response. A prince does not rush into the street to argue with every rumor. He watches which rumors spread. He watches who benefits. He waits for the moment where a single action reshapes the whole story. That is the discipline of not caring, delaying engagement until the engagement is profitable. Because many conflicts are traps disguised as conversations. They are designed to drain you, to expose you, to make you break character in public. They want your anger on record, your desperation visible, your insecurity confirmed. So you starve them. You become slow where they expect speed. You become silent where they expect explanation. You become calm where they expect collapse. And the moment you do that, you stop being a participant in their theater. You become the director. They can still speak, but they can no longer move you. Most people believe not caring means you don't feel. That's childish. The real power is this: you feel everything, and you reveal nothing. Emotional secrecy is one of the oldest weapons in politics. Courts collapsed because a man's face betrayed desire. Alliances died because a leader's voice trembled at the wrong name. A single, uncontrolled reaction can announce your weakness louder than a confession. So Machiavelli's dark method demands a split. Inside, full awareness. Outside, disciplined neutrality. When you care too openly, you hand people a blueprint. They learn what flatters you. They learn what offends you. They learn what makes you defensive. They learn what makes you chase. And once they know that, they can manufacture your moods like a product. But when you stop displaying your care, people lose their instruments. They can't tune you. They can't predict whether you'll reward them, punish them, forgive them, or forget them. They can't tell if you're wounded, amused, or bored. So they become cautious. They become respectful. They become strategic. And in every human system, The cautious person treats you as higher status. Here's the technique: controlled ambiguity. When praised, don't drink it like water. Accept it like a receipt. When insulted, don't ignite. Observe. When challenged, don't rush to win. Let them overextend. When tempted, don't announce desire. Let the offer sit in your hands like a coin you're not impressed by. This creates a terrifying imbalance. They are exposed, and you are not. They show eagerness. You show options. They show outrage. You show time. They show need. You show sufficiency. And sufficiency is the most intimidating posture a human being can carry. Not arrogance, not aggression, sufficiency. Because it implies you can walk away. It implies you cannot be bought cheaply. It implies your approval is not a requirement for your stability. Once people sense that, their behavior shifts. They stop testing you for entertainment. They start testing you for consequence. There is a subtle cruelty in not caring. It forces the other person to face themselves. Most manipulation relies on your participation. They provoke you so you'll explode and look unstable. They ignore you so you'll chase and look needy. They criticize you so you'll perform and look controllable. Every tactic is a fishing line. Not caring cuts the line. But the deeper method is this: you don't just refuse the bait, you refuse the frame. When someone tries to define the situation, who's right, who's wrong, who's winning, who's losing, you don't accept their terms. Because the moment you argue inside their frame, you become their actor. You're suddenly pleading in a courtroom they built, in front of a jury they imagined. So you step out. You respond with calm, minimal weight. You don't over-explain. You don't defend your motives. You don't volunteer your inner world as evidence. This is how you reverse the hierarchy. The one who needs to be understood is beneath the one who can remain misunderstood. The one who needs closure is beneath the one who can live without it. The one who needs agreement is beneath the one who can proceed without consent. That is why not caring terrifies people. It denies them their favorite drug, your emotional confirmation. And when they can't extract that confirmation, they start escalating. They speak louder, they get sharper, they become theatrical. Let them. Escalation is exposure. The calm person becomes the standard. The emotional person becomes the spectacle. The one who stays composed looks in control, even if they say almost nothing. This is not about being cold for its own sake. It's about refusing to be recruited into other people's dysfunction. Refusing to let their anxiety become your tempo. Refusing to let their insecurity become your job. Machiavelli understood that power is not only what you can do, it is what you will not be pulled into. At some point, you must accept a brutal fact. Caring is how people purchase access to you without paying. They bring drama, and you donate attention. They bring chaos, and you donate stability. They bring disrespect, and you donate explanation. You call it being the bigger person. Machiavelli would call it being harvested. So the dark method becomes a rule of economy. Never invest emotion where there is no return. Not return in the sentimental sense. Return in the strategic sense. Does this person increase your clarity or degrade it? Do they expand your options or narrow them? Do they respect your time or consume it? Do they become better in your presence, or do they simply become louder? If the answer is negative, then caring is not compassion, it's self-betrayal. This is where most people fail, because they confuse detachment with cruelty. They think withdrawing attention makes them immoral. But morality is often just fear wearing perfume. Fear of being called cold. Fear of being disliked. Fear of being alone. And fear is an obedient emotion. Machiavelli's prince does not fear being disliked if being liked makes him weak. He fears being dependent. Dependency is the true humiliation. The moment you need someone's approval, you begin altering your behavior to keep it. You shrink. You negotiate. You tolerate. You delay decisions that would protect you because they might upset the wrong person. So you must build a private standard that no one can bargain with. You don't cut people off in anger. You don't announce your boundaries like a performance. You simply stop feeding what contaminates you. Less explanation. Less engagement. Less presence. And what remains becomes sharp. Your yes gains weight because it's rare. Your loyalty becomes valuable because it's selective. Your attention becomes intimidating because it isn't freely available to anyone who asks loudly enough. Not caring is not emptiness. It is precision. It is the disciplined placement of your emotional resources where they create power, not waste. The most expensive habit you can carry is the need to be perceived correctly, because that need turns you into a spokesperson for your own existence. You clarify, you defend, you soften, you explain the tone behind the words, the intention behind the action, the context behind the decision. And while you're busy managing your image, someone else is managing you. Machiavelli didn't build power out of cruelty. He built it out of silence that refused to negotiate. Not caring done properly is not indifference to outcomes. It is indifference to noise, to gossip, to misinterpretation, to the small, petty trials people invent to make you kneel for approval. Most people announce their boundaries like petitions. They communicate until the boundary becomes a debate. They warn, repeat, bargain, and then feel betrayed when nothing changes. But a boundary that requires performance is not a boundary. It's a request. So the method is cold and simple. Make your actions heavier than your words. When you withdraw, withdraw cleanly. When you refuse, refuse without apology. When you end something, end it without speeches that invite negotiation. This is where not caring becomes a weapon. It removes your opponent's favorite terrain, the emotional courtroom. They want you pleading for fairness. They want you defending your character. They want you proving you're not the villain they just invented. You don't step into that theater. You let them call you arrogant. Let them call you cruel. Let them call you changed. Names are cheap. Your time is not. And something shifts when you stop begging to be understood. Your decisions become final. People feel the difference immediately. They sense there's no handle to grab, no guilt switch to flip, no frantic need they can exploit. They can either adapt to your standard or lose access to you entirely. That is the power of not caring. It turns your life from a public debate into private law. Not caring is strongest when it stops being a reaction and becomes a filter. Most people discover detachment only after they've been humiliated, betrayed, exhausted. They stop caring as a scar. That kind of detachment is brittle. It's defensive. It swings between numbness and sudden rage. Machiavelli's version is cleaner. It's chosen. You decide in advance what is worthy of your attention, and everything else meets the same quiet wall. Not because you're above it, but because you understand the cost of letting small people set your inner climate. Here's the law. Your attention is a throne. Stop seating clowns on it. Every provocation is an invitation to descend. Every petty dispute is a request to become common. Every argument that cannot change anything is a tax on your life. So, you begin to rule your mind like territory. You do not process every insult. You do not heal every slight. You do not revisit every conversation to extract the perfect sentence you should have said. That obsession is just vanity disguised as self-improvement. It's the ego demanding a rewrite of reality. Instead, you practice strategic disregard. You let some things remain unresolved. You let some people remain disappointed. You let some accusations remain unanswered. And you notice something unsettling. The world does not collapse. Only your addiction to control collapses. This is why not caring makes you difficult to defeat. Because defeat often requires participation. They need you to chase. They need you to defend. They need you to rage. They need you to obsess. When you refuse those roles, their tactics become strangely ineffective. Their drama finds no landing. Their insults echo back to them. Their silence becomes a room they have to sit in alone. Not caring is not the absence of desire. It is the presence of command. You don't extinguish emotion. You place it under authority. And once your attention obeys you, other people begin to too. There is one final level of not caring that most people never reach, because it requires surrendering a sweet illusion. The illusion that you can be both powerful and universally palatable. Machiavelli understood that every rise creates friction. Every boundary creates an enemy. Every standard creates someone who fails it. If you need to be liked by everyone you pass, you will never walk anywhere important. So the last method is acceptance of collateral. When you stop caring, Some people will call you cold because they no longer benefit from your warmth. Some will call you arrogant because you no longer chase their approval. Some will call you different because you stopped being convenient. Let them. The weak demand access. The strategic evaluate it. This is where detachment becomes sovereignty. You stop negotiating with other people's expectations of you. You let them keep their stories. You let them keep their misunderstandings. You let them keep their resentment. Because you finally understand what resentment often is. A bill from someone who thought your life belonged to them. Not caring does not mean you don't love, don't build, don't commit. It means you stop leaking yourself. You stop trying to redeem every relationship. You stop overextending to prove you have a heart. You stop arguing with people committed to their version of you. And in the space that opens, something rare forms, a centered life. A life where your mood is not negotiated daily. A life where your attention goes to creation, not reaction. A life where your decisions do not require applause to be real. This is Machiavelli's dark method, distilled. Care deeply about your mission. Care selectively about your people. Care almost nothing for the noise. Because the moment you stop caring about what cannot touch your purpose, you become the kind of person others cannot easily move. And the person who cannot be moved is the person who can move everything else. Subscribe and like, not as a gesture, but as alignment. Power recognizes power, and hesitation is a confession. Stay disciplined, stay unreadable, stay above the noise.